I just got off the phone with the president about Amazon's announcement. This is a hostile and political act by Amazon.
Amazon is looking to avoid the blame for raising prices as a result of President Trump's new tariffs.
The storm started in January 2025. Trump returned to the White House with a pledge that tariffs will rebuild America. Within weeks, his government released a comprehensive plan including 10% taxes on practically all imports and up to 145% on Chinese goods. Economists criticized it as economic warfare, while Trump called it the only way to protect American workers. What's the problem? Imports are essential to modern American life. From iPhones to sneakers, televisions to t-shirts, almost everything in a typical American household has parts or materials sourced from other countries. And Amazon, with its vast network of Chinese, Indian, Vietnamese, and Mexican vendors, was the conduit for getting those goods into American homes. Tariffs hit like a tsunami. Electronics rose 20% overnight. Clothing imports slowed. Shippers hurried to recalculate routes as contracts crumbled. Amazon's suppliers in Shenzhen and Guangzhou saw costs triple, prompting the corporation to cancel orders in the middle of shipping. Amazon was not alone. Walmart, Target, and Home Depot have all felt the pinch. However, Amazon bore the brunt of the blame as the single largest player. Customers used to inexpensive items and free shipping were suddenly confronted with a new reality. Tariffs had transformed America's convenience economy into a high-cost labyrinth. For years, Washington had warned about relying on China. However, the tariffs did not sever that relationship. Rather, they detonated it, resulting in pandemonium where supply routes once flowed. Amazon faced two options: collapse under tariffs or shift at breakneck speed. It selected the latter and carried out one of the most rapid business transformations in contemporary history. Within weeks following Trump's pronouncement, Amazon unveiled a $13 billion reorganization plan. Contracts with Chinese factories were terminated. The whole Pacific shipping routes were canceled. Instead, executives fanned out across Mexico, Vietnam, and India, making agreements to completely revamp Amazon's supply chain. Amazon invested heavily in logistical centers in Monterrey and Tijuana, creating cross-border networks that could dodge tariffs and carry goods more quickly into the United States Midwest. In Vietnam, facilities traditionally dedicated to textiles have gone into overdrive, creating electronics, shoes, and furniture for Amazon's global catalog. India, with its enormous textile sector and emerging electronics industry, became a new anchor, with Amazon signing billion-dollar contracts to ensure consistent supply. The pivot was not clean. Shipments are delayed. Warehouses struggled to accommodate new product flows. Customers waited weeks for things that used to take days. However, analysts were taken aback by how quickly the transition occurred. Amazon rewired a supply chain worth hundreds of billions of dollars in less than a year, a feat that governments frequently fail to do over decades. However, the scars were evident. Tariffs prompted Amazon to forsake its two-decade-long reliance on Chinese partners. The trust, logistics, and economies of scale are all gone. In their place, a patchwork of new deals was sewn together under pressure. Amazon survived. However, its survival signaled the start of a new reality. America's largest retailer had been transformed by tariffs and politics, rather than competition or innovation. If Amazon's move saved the firm, it wrecked America's ports and jobs. Nowhere was the anguish more intense than in Los Angeles and Long Beach, the twin titans of U.S. Pacific trade. For decades, their docks were packed with Chinese containers stacked high like Lego bricks, ready for trucks and trains. By mid-2025, traffic had dropped more than 20%. Dock workers who had earned stable union salary were sent home. Trucking companies lost contracts. Warehouses sat half empty, and the ripples extended beyond the ports. Diners that fed longshoremen during lunch have closed their doors. Schools faced declining tax revenues. Local governments faced budget issues as the tariff war decimated entire villages. And the anguish was not limited to California. Seattle, Houston, and New York all experienced declines as Amazon redirected items through Mexico and Southeast Asia. American ports, long symbols of the country's worldwide commercial superiority, have become monuments to the destruction that tariffs may cause. The irony was awful. Tariffs were marketed as a method to protect American jobs. Instead, they cut them off at the knees. By avoiding American ports, Amazon and other retailers outsourced expansion overseas, leaving American workers with nothing but broken promises and empty shifts. The impact for longshoremen, truck drivers, and warehouse workers was not political theory. There were pink slips and padlocked gates. Despite all the headlines about ports, contracts, and business pivots, the true burden of tariffs fell directly on average Americans. Electronics, formerly inexpensive, dependable, and delivered in days, increased by 10 to 20%. A laptop that sold for $800 in 2024 is now listed on Amazon for nearly $1,000. Smartphones, tablets, and televisions all saw price increases as tariffs disrupted their supply chains. Clothing, too, has become more pricey. Shirts, pants, and shoes, essential household items, saw price increases with fewer options available as stores scrambled to replace Chinese suppliers. Even domestic products such as light bulbs, cookware, and furniture were delayed, causing families to wait weeks or months for what used to take only 2 days. Walmart, Target, and Home Depot have all issued warnings. Shelves would not remain full, prices would not remain low. For years, consumers had been insulated from the full cost of trade wars, but in 2025, they began to feel it in their wallets and homes. And for millions, the Amazon Prime promise of 2-day delivery was shattered, not due to logistical difficulties, but because politics had altered the norms of the global trade. The empire of convenience did not simply crumble in boardrooms, it crumbled in living rooms, kitchens, and bedrooms across America. Amazon's tariff-induced collapse taught a lesson well beyond retail. It demonstrated that companies can adapt faster than governments and that U.S. measures designed to defend domestic authority might hasten its collapse. By transferring $13 billion in contracts to Mexico, India, and Vietnam, Amazon demonstrated that global supply networks are not limited by boundaries. They move where the opportunity is. In this situation, opportunity extended beyond the borders of the United States. Washington faced severe consequences. Tariffs were viewed by allies as indication that the United States could no longer be regarded as a reliable trading partner. Rivals identified a weakness. Yes, China's significance has lessened, but new Asian markets have grown. Mexico emerged as North America's logistics king. Vietnam emerged as an industrial hub. India has grown its global footprint. In attempting to penalize foreign competitors, America harmed itself by relinquishing influence while others filled the gap. The message was clear: economic warfare works both ways. When the world's largest retailer shifts its focus away from the United States, the consequences are both geopolitical and economic in nature. The Amazon era of boundless ease was built on a weak foundation of global supply chains connected by trade agreements and low-cost imports. Tariffs pulled the foundation apart. For decades, America was the epicenter of the global consumer economy. Today, the center is changing. Amazon's move to Mexico, India, and Vietnam is more than business survival. It's a marker of a new era where income flows elsewhere. For American workers, it entails employment losses in ports, warehouses, and manufacturing. Consumers face rising pricing and failed promises. And for Washington, tariffs that were supposed to restore strength have revealed frailty. The decline of prime convenience extends beyond shipment delays and empty shelves. It is about a country realizing that trade conflicts have far-reaching implications beyond balance sheets. The question today is simple. Will the United States repair trust, restore markets, and return global trade leadership? Or will Amazon's $13 billion pivot be remembered as the moment America's dominance in global supply chains was lost for good? Let us know what you think down below in the comments.